Yes, welcome back to Football Heritage TV. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world, whoever you are, welcome. I'm joined by Pete and by Benji at Tot Doc. We might be joined by J Rated and also Connor over the next couple of hours or however long we go for. Evening, chaps. How we doing on this 20 days of the window to go? How are we doing on this day?
Yeah, a bit hot today, a little bit hot. And I've just come back from football as well, to be fair. So I feel like a baked potato. But yeah, other than that, pretty good. Yourself?
Yeah, good, my end, mate. Good. I'm so used to these shitty windows now that I'm just, it is what it is. Pete, how are you, mate? You well?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Sweating. Been a very hot day today. But yeah, same thing. It's you would think the window was hotting up, but we'll see where we go with that.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? I mean, look, guys, as I said, we are 20 days out. I'm being kind with that because there's only about 3 hours of today, so we're about 19 days and 3 hours out. However, Spurs do seem to announce everything, or we seem to get the news at about midnight. I have to keep jumping out of bed and doing shows, which is very frustrating. But guys, it's an interesting one, right? Because if we were any other club, you would say that the news, the news we've got in the last 48 hours, you would say is good news. But it's Spurs, and I think that holds us back from being happier than maybe if a Chelsea fan received news like this, right? If a Man City fan heard that they're in for Savio and they're in for EZE, they'd be pretty comfortable the deal was going to get done. Is that fair to say, guys, that as Spurs fans, we're all there's that little lingering doubt, which might not be so little? Is that fair to say?
We have PTSD as a club, don't we? You know, we really do. I mean, look, listen. Hopefully we get it over the line. We get both of the deals over the line, but the longer it goes, the more twitchy I get personally, and I know you all do too. Like, especially with the Savio thing, like, what a wonderful player he is. I genuinely hope we get someone like that in through the door. But like I said, the longer it goes, the twitchier I get, because my worry with someone like him as well is like other clubs are alerted. You know, this guy is actually available. And if a team like, let's say a Chelsea comes jumping in, because they're after like a Garnacho, aren't they? And if they come sort of jumping in, they'll just go, bang, there's the money, see you later. So, yeah, as a fan base, we do sort of suffer from PTSD a little bit, and, yeah, a bit twitchy. So hopefully we can get it wrapped up quick.
Yeah, I mean, Pete, it's true, isn't it? We get this. I think like any Spurs fan, we see the news and go, oh, hello. And then very slowly it all starts to go, well, hang on, this is Spurs. Let's take a step backwards. Pete, EZE, Savio, I mean, they're great names to be linked to, but do you have faith that Tottenham Hotspur are going to go and get these deals done, or maybe one of them, both of them?
Unfortunately, not. I mean, as the old saying goes, once bitten, twice is shy. This is normally stuff we get on the day the window's shutting, innit? We'll get a we tried signing, and we'll try and do all sorts. Oh yeah, we tried to get this player, that player, and it don't really happen. So obviously we're doing it early doors now. Listen, we can only hope, live and hope that this is actually going to be different. But time will tell. When Levy's involved, anything's possible. He can pull it out, or he can just ruin it completely. We've seen that many times.
Well, let's look where we're at, right? So, I mean, it was just under 24 hours ago that Paul O'Keefe first mentioned that Tottenham are back in for EZE. I mean, I don't really remember a time when we actually were in for him. I hear a lot that we're in for him, but I don't remember us actually going in for him. Then Romano said that Spurs want him, and Ben Jacobs has said, hang on, Tottenham want him. Arsenal need to sell first, and Tottenham want him for 55 million. Then Ben Jacobs has come out in the last 3 or 4 hours and said, listen, Spurs are prepared, guys. We're prepared, to pay 60 million to get the deal done quickly. We know that there's a 68 million pound release clause, or sorry, it's 68.5 million to be precise. Is this a case where if we dilly and dally, we're going to allow someone like Arsenal to come in and get him, or do we think Arsenal will get him anyway, or are we going to get it done? Where are we at with this? What's the permutations?
You know what? To be fair, you kind of had the feeling that this was going to happen anyway. As soon as that release clause ended, like it has done, I had a funny feeling we were going to go in anyway. Because look, clearly people didn't want to pay the release clause. You know, clubs around the world must feel that 68 million for EZE is too much money. So, in all fairness, I mean, for me personally, I think EZE's 50 push a 60 million pound player. I do. I'm sorry. I don't think he's this genie of a player. I know he's a great player. I just don't think he will revolutionise the club. Yeah, I don't.
All right, we'll come back. We'll come back to that statement in a second. That is
right.
That is why I love you being on here, Ben. Do you know what? Hang on. Hang on. I'll tell you what. I need to go to that now.
People would have paid, Sav.
Huh?
People would have paid that release clause if he was that good.
Yeah, you could say that, but couldn't we say that for any footballer? Because I seem to remember when we had a conversation about Son a couple of weeks ago, and I said, well, if Son was that good, someone would have bought him in his 10 years at Spurs. You found every excuse under the sun and said, well, nah, he's loyal, nah, but the amount of money it would cost. So isn't this a bit of Spurs bias? When it's our players, there's an excuse. When it's a player from another club,
no, it's a different story. Nobody wants to deal with Daniel Levy at the best of times. We all know that, right? You definitely don't want to deal with Daniel Levy when not only you've got a special player, you've got a player that brings a country worth of following with him, which is money, baby. So you've got to think, not only are you going to be paying for the player, but you've got to pay for that. And Daniel Levy is going to make you pay for that. So he is going to ask for way over the odds. So with a player like Son, I don't think you're going to get anywhere near with a club's valuation of him. I really don't. So I
was Kane's Son.
Oh yeah, but that was forced into it, though, wasn't it? That was
right. Okay, but the point is, look at Steve Parish at Crystal Palace, right? He's also very well known for being a very shrewd operator, difficult to deal with. Pete, let me ask you before I go back to Benji on this. EZE doesn't revolutionise the way we play, in your opinion? Thoughts?
No, I disagree. He's a game changer. He's the sort of dynamic, drop the shoulder, go past a player that we haven't got, who actually then has something at the end of it. Set piece specialist as well, good at free kicks. We've struggled with that. He brings a lot. I think he's worth every penny of 68 million. I get what Ben's saying, no one's gone in for him, but I think there's reasons for that in terms of how the payment structure is as part of that clause. But also, your Chelsea's, your Liverpool's, and Arsenal's are probably, let's be honest, they're looking for a higher level player. So he'll be a fallback option for them because he's good enough to get in their squad and be in their team all the time. But they're operating at a different level to us at the moment. For us, he's a game changer. For them, well, if we can't get, he's probably option 2 because of the levels that they're operating in. I mean, Liverpool got Etiquette in, and then they're going to go for Isaac now. So they obviously had a plan for that. Arsenal, Gyökeres, they've got in. I think they need to sell a few before they come back in and potentially do an EZE, because the Gyökeres deal weren't easy for them. I think the agent had to take a pay cut on it and all that because they only had so much to pay with. So I think if we don't wrap it up lively, we leave the door open for other teams to go, well, we'll take him now. Yeah. Same with Savio, as Ben said earlier, like we've alerted clubs now that there's potential there. So we've got to get in there, do the business, and get in and get out with the player. Not get in, let's mess around. Do you want 50 million and Skywalk tickets or Beyonce tickets or one of this nonsense? Just get in, pay the money.
Like by all means, don't greet with Beyonce. Yeah.
But by all means, don't go in and bend over straight away. But there's got to be a point where you got to go right. This not the winning. Like Daniel Levy, we know he likes to go into a negotiation. He likes to feel like he's won. In this case, winning is getting the players, not a personal win where I got another 2 million out of Steve Parish that he didn't want to. I saved 2 million that he didn't want, and same for City. I got 2 million. No, the winning is getting the players. Get the players in, and you've won because the club's won. Forget about what it means to you. Now this is the win you want because you'll win with the fan base. Because if we don't do it, but he goes, I've got 2 million quid extra, I didn't say, and we lost out on a player because something like that, which we've seen before, there's going to be uproar, and then he's going to be the villain again. So for once, just go in, do the business, be professional. At the end of the day, when you're selling a player, you expect the buying club to pay what you want. Yeah? So you've got to treat them in the same way. You want the player, pay the money, get in and get out before other fish, bigger sharks come swimming down because they smell a bit of blood in the water and they'll be down. Did it, get it, get out. Players in the bag, thank you.
Yep.
The other thing with it, Pete, is sometimes what you're saying about feeling like you have to win every negotiation.
Hello,
Sav. Sorry, I'm jumping straight in.
Mate. Just jump straight in. Don't worry about
it's 'cause I
can tell we've got a Shawms, mates.
It's because I feel so at home, mate. That's why. I've just come off another pod. Sometimes with these negotiations, if you give Palace what they want on this, suddenly if you go back in next summer for a Walton, say, you've got a good relationship that you've built with Parish rather than a sort of toxic
adversarial.
Or he knows you'll pay exactly what you want.
To get deals done.
Well, let me, Connor, before we go back, I've got Benji. I don't know if you heard. Benji said that he doesn't think EZE revolutionises Tottenham. Connor, where are you on that? Because I'll tell you what, all I've heard all summer from the fan base, it doesn't matter which player I've mentioned. All I get is, I'd rather EZE. I'd rather EZE. I'd rather EZE. But now, apparently, according to Benji, EZE doesn't revolutionise us. Where are you at with this?
He's putting his finger up.
Wait a minute, wait. Can I give you context first? Let me give you context first.
If that's all right. You said he doesn't.
No, there is. There absolutely is. There absolutely is. Right. All I was trying to say is, again, I personally, my opinion, I don't feel he is any better than Madison. For me personally, I do not think he's better than Madison. Right. So here's the thing: 68 million was the release clause. Yeah. Nobody has came in for him at 68 mil, Connor. No one. So is he really that good? Because listen, if you've got a top quality player, which he is, but if you're going to go for someone special and their release clause is 68 million, you're going to snap him up, because in today's market, that's not a crazy amount of money anymore. It used to be, not no more. So the question remains, is he really that good? And like I said, I don't think he's any better than James Madison. Oof. Maybe some aspects, but overall, go on, hit me. I want to know what everyone thinks, seriously.
Oof. Yeah, I think there's a couple of points. I think, look, I'm a huge fan of Madison's as well, probably more than some others in the Tottenham.
Me too.
Tottenham fan base. I know you are. You guys are as well. And I think he was our best technical footballer. And I think when Spurs played well, Madison played well, right? So,
he's the best footballer at the club. Best footballer at the club by a mile.
For sure. But I still think Eze's better marginally. I don't think there's a huge amount in it. I don't think what you're saying is that crazy. But he, for me, it's definitely the player I wanted. I think he's, he doesn't have this. He's not as fragile as Madison. He does get injured now and again, Eze, but he's not quite as fragile as Madison, and so I think that helps. I think on the release clause point, I think it's more. There's only really us and Arsenal that are ever the type of club he'd want to go to, because he wants to play Champions League football. So then Arsenal spent a lot of money this summer already, so they were trying to sell players to get some money back in. I think there's we don't know what the payment terms were on that release clause, so perhaps that's the other reason why clubs have been delaying, because maybe they were asking, there's been different rumours about what that looks like, but maybe they were asking for a huge amount of cash up front, and actually Spurs and Arsenal both thought, do you know what, if we wait this out, we know Eze wants to move to the Champions League club, we'll be able to renegotiate that on better terms. So I wouldn't necessarily read into that too much, that hasn't been triggered, and that therefore reflects his quality as a player, because he is definitely a superb player.
Connor, I think you've hit the nail on the head. I think that the problem is as well, I think you've got to look at players' profiles, their ages, etc., etc. So when you look at players that Chelsea and Man City are buying, when you go to Chelsea and Man City, unless you are an absolute superstar, you kind of have to make peace with yourself that you're not starting every game, right? If you go to Man City right now, Rodri starts every game when fit, right? Rodri's the main man. Ruben Diaz starts every game. You would say that De Bruyne has when fit, and Haaland, right? You look down the years at all the other players they've had, plethora of players they've had. How many of them are you ever putting in your fantasy Premier League team? You can't guarantee they're gonna start. Chelsea are the same. Chelsea are buying a younger profile of player. Bino Gittins, Xavi Simons, Cole Palmer, like they're buying that age where then they know they're not going to be guaranteed starters. I think Eze at 27 going on 28. This is his last move, right? This is the move for Eze. World Cup year. I think he'll be telling some of these clubs, well, I need to play week in, week out. And at Spurs, I think we're the only club of all those going in where he'd be the main man. So I'm going to respectfully disagree. I do think he does revolutionise us. I think he's something we've not had for a decade. And that is a player that can drift into pockets. I don't care what people want to call him. I don't care if you think he's a left winger, a number 10. I don't care about all that. He's a player that gets the ball. And when he gets it, he doesn't give it away. He's strong. The ball sticks to him. He wins fouls. And he can create moments out of nothing. And we've got nobody in our football club that does that. So I think he's an absolute game changer. And I'll be honest, guys, as a fan, I can't sit here and ask Levy and Enoch to do better and then worry about how much they're spending on signings. I don't care that it's 68, 70 million.
Yeah.
I don't care. We just spent 40 million last year on Archie Gray. If we're prepared to spend 40 million on Archie Gray, pay 80 million for Eze. I know it's not going to be 80, but if that, do you know what I mean? Weigh up what the two are going to give you. This guy here, he gets you 3 or 4 places up the league. Do you know what I mean? So that's where I'm at with it.
And the rest.
I mean, this is what frustrates me a little bit when you see, though, like, we're arguing over 5 million or whatever it is, between what we're willing to pay and what their valuation is. And you just think, well, 5 million in the grand scheme of things. I mean, that's 2 league positions, in one season. And we're going to have this player for 5 years, so.
Yeah. It's one extra place in the Champions League, isn't it? It's the difference between going out in the groups and the last 16, which probably about 10 to 15 million. But you make it back, right? You make it back, Connor.
But Levy's done this again and again and again. And I know you all know this, but it was the same story with your Hazards, your Suarez's. It was roughly around the 5 million mark. That's just what
Bruno
he's
Fernandes.
like. Bruno Fernandes, exactly. What were we? 50? I think we were like 52 million and they wanted 60 for him.
Yeah.
Like, and the thing is,
Skriniar.
That's why he makes a rod for his own back. That's why fans hate him so much. That it's that exact issue that causes him so much grief. You got to think the players that we've just mentioned are game changing, and could have changed the course of Tottenham's history, in recent years anyway. So yeah, I just think he makes a rod for his back, doesn't he, Levy, at times?
It's because he enters any negotiation a zero-sum game. He has to come out and feel like he's won, and that always comes with a pound sign attached to it. So yes, I say 2 million, and that is doing what is best for the club. In certain ways, yes, financially, but if we've dropped 9 points in that time where he did in Dalian, at the end of the season, that's going to cost a lot more than what he saved. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we've had that. How many times have we had season start, and the first few games we're crap until we get the players in, normally on the last day, and then we start getting off and running again. It's like, well, why don't we do that earlier? We could have maybe gained an extra few points. That's back in the day, that's been the difference between getting in the Champions League or not.
And I'm telling you now, fellas, and I know you know this, Savio, if you don't pull your finger out your arsehole and pick that boy up now, there'll be a problem. I mean, this kid is one of the hottest properties in Europe. Yeah, his percentiles alone are enough to prove how good he is.
Oh, ridiculous.
You can't sit twiddling your thumbs on this move. If Manchester City are willing to sell him at 60 million, snap their hands off. This boy is something special. And by all accounts, probably shouldn't be going to a club like Spurs right now. I hate to say that, and I don't want it.
No. Yeah. I get it. But again, Benji, it goes back to your point. Let's be fair. If Savio comes to a club like Spurs, it's because Savio knows every single game Savio is starting for Tottenham Hotspur. I'd be so disappointed if he didn't. And the problem, I said this the other day, and I know this sounds crazy. For as great as Man City have been over this last decade, the problem that comes with it, and see if I don't know, you guys might disagree. I'd like to get Pete's take on this as well, because I haven't spoken to him properly for ages. I think the problem is when you've got a Pep Guardiola team that is so well drilled and that has 70, 75, 80% of the ball in every game of football, the problem that causes, whether it's at Bayern Munich, Man City or Barcelona, is it makes every single opponent you play 10 men behind the ball, right? It makes every single opponent say, break us down. And the one thing that flying wingers like Savio and Doku don't want to do is they don't want brick walls in front of them. They want space to run into. They want grass to run into as wingers. At Spurs, I don't think we'll play tiki-taka, loads of possession football. I think we'll be a more transitional team where you can go, right, Doku, you go, Savio, go, right, flying away with Eze as a free. Pete, do you see what I mean there in terms of the difference between a Savio at a club like City who have all the ball and a club like Spurs that won't?
Yeah, I mean, at Man City, when you got when you at Man City and your wide players, you need to be give and go merchants because you got to get it and then quickly give and go to get into their minimal cracks that might appear in the low block. Yeah, it's got to be quick. Where, as you say, players like that, they don't. That's why Sterling struggled in there in the end because he needs grass. He needs a play.
Yeah.
He needs to get in behind the team, not really in front of him because in front of him you're relying on a bit more than what he's got. But his best attributes, i.e., his pace, is you have to be getting him in behind. And Savio also has struggled because he's been played on the right when most of his career he's played on the left. Now, I mean, Pep Guardiola is great, but there's certain things about him what he does with players that I'm not a fan of in terms of where they become too focused on possession and not enough sort of have a go and see what happens. It's got to be you can't lose the ball, but that's an argument for another day. Modern football's gone that way. But yeah, for us, he will get that space because we will not sit behind the ball and teams will not fear us. Maybe early doors. That could change if we do get these players in and then everyone starts going, "Whoa, okay, you know what I mean? We've got to be careful here." Remember when we had Len and Bow and every team just went, nah, we'll stay here,
we're
thank
doubling
you.
up on the
Yeah,
wingers.
we ain't having none of that, yeah. But then when they do that, it creates space for someone else.
Yeah.
So do you know what I mean? So there's and then you get Porro coming from deep, whipping balls in, all that sort of stuff. So that you cannot not have these players in the team. You've got to get them in the team because it revolutionises our attack. Because our front line is mundane, it's predictable, it's boring to watch, it's easy to defend against.
Yeah.
Everything's got to change, and these two will massively change it if that happens. And let's be honest, we're going back on the money side of it. I don't know about you boys, but I haven't bought a season ticket for years. I don't buy nothing at the club shop. I just renew my membership to keep my season ticket place every year in case I ever want to use it. But when you start hearing names like and you see these players coming through the door, you start thinking, do you know what? I might have put mine in my pocket now and go to games or do that. Do you know what I mean? And then imagine we're all doing that. You're paying, they're getting the money out of it. It's paying for whatever.
Doesn't this go to what you just said, Pete? This goes to what you just said. Daniel Levy always wants to win the negotiation. What could be more beneficial for him is he can win the fan base.
That's what I mean.
Maybe not these really hard-nosed, horrible people like Connor and Lubo, but he can win the fan base over, right? Because if this week, if by Saturday he goes and signs Savio and Eze, right now, let's be fair, kills the protests. It does. It kills it dead. It really does.
Yeah.
He's got 4 first-team players that have walked straight into our 11. He's got a brand new coaching staff, right? He spent huge money on that. He would have spent huge money on players. The fans are on side. And you know what? The feel-good factor suddenly back at the club. Flip side to this, Pete. Now imagine after these links that was Gibbs White, Eze, Savio. Now imagine we don't end up with one of them, right?
It could be the worst it's ever been.
Don't put our darkness on us, Sav. Jesus Christ.
But it all changes. The dynamic changes when you get happy fans spend the money that you're going to make back from whatever you've paid out for these players. Because straight away we're thinking, right, I need to get tickets. I want to go and see these players.
Yeah.
Where before you got offered tickets, but it's £80 to go and watch us play Fulham. No, fuck that. Right? That's and all the rest and all the other aggro you getting down. All of a sudden, if you're presenting that and you're thinking the football's going to be, I want to see these players now. You multiply that by all the people that have decided over the last few years not to put their money into the club because they don't think it's been spent wisely. All of a sudden, cash is flowing in from your own fans for once, rather than Korea and all the other shit we have to. Do you know what I mean? Your own core fan base are marching in, getting their wallets out.
It's a
And
massive
game
snowball effect, isn't it? It's a snowball
yeah,
effect. It
especially
will
if it
just
goes well, especially if it turns up and it does what it should do on paper. I mean, we said earlier, I remember the days when we go Wild Lane and we come out 100 mile an hour, and you're like, yes, we're up for this
Oh,
today. Yeah, I mean, and teams
under
blow
Harry.
teams away. Yeah,
I remember under Harry
lethal.
Redknapp loved
Even
it
Martin Yole,
every
even
game.
Martin Yole. Martin
And
Yole used to
Poch.
do it. Come out,
And
wallop.
yeah,
And that was
yeah.
it. And then the atmosphere was rocking and blah, blah. It didn't always come off, but majority of times we did really well out of it. And then you think, you just want that again. Just give me that again.
I think the thing is as well, look, I mean, you know, I'm clearly very strongly of the view that we need a change in ownership, and that is not going to change even if we sign these two players, because you know, a swallow doesn't make a summer, and we need to be doing that consistently. And you can't forget the previous 24 years that has led you to. But
Granted.
that being said, I will give credit. You know, and I'm very happy to give credit when they do things right. You know, as I said, I've said a million times, I think it was the right decision to sack Ange, but the harder one to make, and I give them credit for doing that. I thought Frank was a good appointment. Give them credit for doing that. If they sign, and it's a big if still, if they sign these two on top of what we've done, you know, that becomes one of our best windows in recent time. And I'll go, you know, let's just see how this plays out for 6 months, you know, and then what do we do in January if we need to do anything more in January? What do we then do in the following window to be consistently doing this? The problem is, you know, even now we're talking like these types of signings are sort of, you know, please happen. We're all praying, and they're miraculous type of signings. Whereas for our competitors, this is the norm, right? You know, you
Yeah,
look at
this
what
shit
they've
don't
done.
happen to us.
But Connor,
But
Connor, think about it. When we're saying what it would do for us, think about the opposite effect it would have for our opponents. Now imagine these clubs come into White Hart Lane, and yes, I will always call it White Hart Lane. All right, no
It's always
fancy
the lane,
stadium's going to change it. It's the lane. All right. Now imagine these teams seeing Spurs lineup, and sorry, I'm going to show it again. Imagine teams now seeing this lineup. Suddenly, I think people are a little bit more scared. Suddenly, I think they're looking and going, shit, they've got Savio on the right, Kudus on the right, Savio on the left, and EZE in midfield. That means we've got problems centrally, right and left.
Yeah, you can't double up on no one.
Right.
do you know the other thing with this team as well, Sav? It's you've got those three behind the striker, which is just so exciting. But you've also got six in that team. You've got 6 lumps as well, physical. You know, Bentancur and Paulinho are physical. You know, Romero, Van der Ven, and Spence are big guys. Solanke. So we're also a set piece threat as well as having these three very tricky players.
I must just say, I know I said Eze wouldn't exactly revolutionise our style of play. I will just concede that looking at that team there with the Kudus and the Savio at either side causing problems and allowing space to open up in the middle, I suppose Eze really is probably one of the best man for that type of style of play. Do you think?
Well,
I mean,
Benji, if you look at it, mate, if we look at this,
it's just his playmaking ability isn't on the same. I don't think his playmaking ability is on par.
He's a different type of playmaker, isn't he? He's more of a drive with the ball playmaker as opposed to Madison, who gets on the ball, looks up. But if you look at this team, lads, you've got Savio, who I'm informed reliably is his actual name, not Savino. Savio can play on the right and the left. Kudus can play on the right.
You going to deep hole next week? And is that
well, look, you've got Savio can play on both wings. Kudus can play on both wings. Eze can play centrally or from the left. You know, you've got options. So, you know, Thomas Frank can turn around to these in a game if it's not working and go, I'll tell you what, Savio and Kudus, just swap for half now. Do you remember when teams used to do that, guys? I don't know how old everyone is, but I remember back in the day, clubs always used to go to their right and left winger. Just swap for 10 minutes. Give the fullback. If you know, you've tried 3 times to get past your fullback. You can't. I'll tell you what, swap. Try it. Try that guy. I like this. It gives us pace. It gives us power. Like Connor said, these boys aren't just good footballers. All 3 of them are powerful. Maybe not Savio as much as Kudus and Eze, but these are boys that protect the ball, drive with it. Savio's got. I saw a stat today that in the top 5 leagues in Europe last year, had the most progressive ball carries. We haven't got that at the moment to get us up the pitch.
I'll tell you what, that's going to get really important is in them away games in the Champions League where you are going to be pegged back and
Yes.
you do get the chance to break on teams. You
Yes.
need to have potent players who just go, you're under the cosh the whole time, but you get that chance to hit and you hit and you take that 1-0 smash and grab. Thank you very much. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Or they know you got that threat, so they don't overly commit too much either because they don't want to leave the back door open. When you got players like Savio, Kudus, and Eze who are all good ball carriers, it's like, oh, we've got to be careful here because if we do get caught, or we even for us, we can say, come on then, we can sit here for a minute, shut up shot, but as soon as we get that ball off you, we're off. Yeah.
But moreover,
way,
it gives our team fear factor, a big injection of fear factor. Because when was the last time anyone looked at Spurs and thought, we're going to have a tough day here? You know, the injection is, oh my goodness.
But talking about injections, Sammy Mockbell has just said that Spurs have got a lot of money to spend as the owners have injected cash in the last few weeks.
Yeah, I just saw that. I went straight to company's house, Sav, and I was looking to see
I bet you did.
Yeah.
They haven't yet. There's no disclosure yet, which they will have to do if they inject cash. So we'll see.
That would make sense why we're bidding for both. I mean, listen, let's be fair, guys. Let's be fair. And before I show you the odds for EZE to Spurs and how they have absolutely slashed, which, having spoken to people who work in the betting world, that it can be a bit misleading because what a lot of people would have done is seen Romano and Ornstein and these people talking about it and then gone and put money on, and it skews it a bit. But what this means, guys, is this will be a significant lump of money without any really coming in from sales on those two footballers. You're talking about 60. Let's go conservatively, 65 million for EZE and conservatively 60 million for Savio. You're talking about 125 minimum for those two footballers, plus the 55 you spent on Kudus, right? If my maths works out really quickly, that's 180 million, right? Plus Takai was at 5 million. You know, suddenly you go.
Officially, Tell was this summer as well. You know, and
Dan's I'm trying to forget. I'm trying to forget.
I know you want to forget.
Stop it back. It's a lot of money.
It takes our net spend to 200 million, doesn't it? You know,
Chris, did I get it right? Chris, did I get it right as to why the odds might be a bit skewed? This is my man works in betting. Did I get it right, Chris? Or are you going to tell me off? Let's have a look at those, shall we? Let's have a look at those. Chris, feel free to talk us through this, my friend. So this is odds checker right now. Now read into this what you will. What I've been told is, can everyone see that? Is that big enough, or do you want me to make that a tiny bit?
No, perfect.
Hang on, there we go. So you can see the Spurs. I mean, Palace are at 5, so we can see that, right? And then you've got Spurs at 8-15, 1-2 on, 1-3 on. What I've been told, Chris, tell me off in the chat. I've been told that if that floats out to like 1-5, then that's when the bookies are kind of saying this is happening. And that's what happened with Thomas Frank. I don't know if anyone remembers. Thomas Frank went from like 2-1 on to evens to 1-2 on to 1-3 to 1-5. Can we read anything, guys, in your opinions? Can you read anything into that? Is this just because Tottenham have been linked with him more today than Arsenal?
I think it's a bit of that right now. You know, obviously we're having talks and it's those stories, and as you say, people are putting bets on. I think that's probably driven that change. But let's keep looking at it. I mean, just quickly on that point around
what's Ivan Toney put on?
What's Ivan Toney put on? Another ban.
But yeah, look, cash is an issue for us. We've said this. You know, I've said this a few times that cash is not an issue for us, and obviously PSR and those types of things are so far from being an issue. But even, you know, we finished last season with the strongest cash position of any Premier League club. We've got plenty of options. You know, they've got a HSBC overdraft sitting there of 50 million if they need to suddenly find some cash on a short-term basis until some of the money comes in. So yeah, they can make these deals happen if they want to.
Are we buying into this, by the way, guys? That, I mean, look, I take a lot of what I hear with a pinch of salt, and obviously I talk about it all day, every day online, and I think everyone thinks that everything I read out, I believe, and I can assure you I don't, for any of you that know me personally. But but we've heard all summer that Arsenal, but not all summer, Arsenal have bought big this window, right? Arsenal have spent a lot of money. They've bought a lot of players into the football club. Got it. Connor, got it. They've spent a lot of money on players. And what we've heard for the last month or so is that Arsenal must get players out the door to bring players in. Now, I'd love to think that's true, but we also heard that, guys, didn't we, a lot about Man United? Do you remember Man United? It was, okay, they've got Cunha in, but they're not going to get Mbeumo because they need to sell. Mbeumo lands in the door. Oh, well, they're definitely not going to get Sesko at 75 million because they got to sell. Sesko came through the door. Is that where we're at with Arsenal? Or do you think if Arsenal really want him, they'll go and make that bid?
Well, I think, they went for, they got Madueke in already. So that was quite a big spend. And Gyökeres, I think from what I read, the Gyökeres deal took so long because Arsenal could only pay so much. So agent had to take a lesser cut on it and all that sort of stuff to get it over the line.
The club was moving the goalposts as well. Sporting Lisbon were moving the goalposts.
Because he's another Levy geezer. He's a Portuguese Levy, but they weren't only prepared to pay so much. And last season last accounts, they did borrow 80 million for their owners. Their owners had to put in 80 million in to shore them up. So they're not like, although they're in the Champions League and they've done well and all that, they have spent a lot of money in recent years. Was it 900 million Arteta spent? And you think about that spread out over a long time, then payments, then chickens come home to roost because they've, like us, they've not sold massive players and sort of owed a lot of money for players. They've bought some crap as well and it's gone out the door and they've had to write off a lot. So I don't think they're as cash rich and ready to go as probably we are, because I think they've blown most of their load already. I think if they can flog a few, then they might come back, which is why we got to get our arse in gear and
which
do
is
the
why
business.
Spurs fans are worried, right, Pete? Because all of these, like, today, a lot of the reports you saw were Spurs are set to make a bid in the coming days, and you're like, no, today, today, this day, not coming days.
Negotiations are about to start and all that.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, so far this has been the typical Spurs window where we do something at the beginning and then we do nothing, and then by the end of it, it's like we're gagging for anything. And Savio, you got that clip I sent you?
Yeah.
Can you show that? Yeah, this is basically.
I'll get
you get copyright.
But yeah, copyright.
So anyone who's seen The Lion King, like when Scar's there with the leg of fucking Zero, and they're like, the hyenas are desperate. That's Levy's Scar, the leg of lamb, the animal leg is bloody Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and we're that desperate for signings, we lap it up. How many times have we had that at the end of the window? We just take anything, and it's been a great window now, 9 out of 10 window, because we bought 4 players in the last 10 minutes, even though they're all crap. Do you know what I mean? So that's where the typical window's going. So far, until this happens, it's been carbon copy. No matter who the director of football is, no matter what competition it is, it's always been the same sort of way the window's going. So hopefully this is a time where this is actually, this is going to be different. What we've heard actually comes true for once, because we've been let down more than anyone.
Yeah. Look, Benji, let me ask you, right? Look, I get it, right? I know as football fans, we come out with flippant comments like, just put the money down. And to be fair, none of us, sorry, maybe you all have, I don't know. Maybe I'm doing you a disservice here. None of us have worked in companies where we are in charge of 50, 60, 70 million pound deals, right? I don't think, right?
No.
But this could be terrible for Spurs. If he ends up going to Arsenal, I would have been comfortable with it if we hadn't have been involved. Do you know what? If that makes sense, we heard, he wants Arsenal bid. But the fact we're in for him now, how much egg on the face is there going to be for either Arsenal or Tottenham for the one that doesn't get it? And then, it's banter, but then the kind of the ego of the team that gets it versus the one that doesn't is going to be disgusting, isn't it?
Yeah, it will be absolutely horrendous. I mean, just look at the friendlies Tottenham and Arsenal play. Something like this will be horrendous for one side or the other. But look, listen, I want to say this much when it comes to EZE and Savio. Levy's not a man that likes to be embarrassed, right? He's not. And let's be honest, this transfer window, he's been embarrassed by Marinakis. That's just
Yeah.
a cold hard fact. You know,
Yeah.
he's been made
Yeah.
to look silly.
He's
Surely,
also saved 60 million, so I don't think he'd be bothered too much if he banks that.
yep. But surely, right, and this is the only thing that does give me a bit of hope.
Right
Surely,
in the check like this, going,
Yeah,
no, thank God, I don't. Thank
Yeah.
God.
surely, because of that fact, he gets these over the line. Surely, because like you say, if he doesn't, oh my God, could you fucking imagine what the Spurs fan base is going to be like if even one of these deals don't go through? It will
Mhm.
be chaos. I mean, it'd be great for us boys, but it will be chaos. So Levy, and this is sometimes I say this, I feel like in certain situations, like the whole signing extra players, like we've said, Levy has to, not should, has to get these signings over the line because, as you alluded to earlier, sorry, what was your name again? I'm so sorry.
What one?
Pete,
Pete. Sorry, Pete. It's the first time I've been with you. As
That's all
Pete
right,
said
mate.
earlier,
the good-looking one on the bottom row.
he's a
You.
beautiful man. He is,
Mm.
as Pete was saying earlier, it gets the fans back on side, doesn't it? So I can't help but sit here and feel, yeah, the egg on the face would be terrible, but in this situation, Tottenham have to pull the trigger and get it done now. Because if they don't, it's not just the Arsenal fans you've got to worry about. So hopefully,
There's another element to this as well,
go on.
is that if he does this, then all of a sudden that love at first sight video he did with Vinay a couple of months ago saying we want to win the Champions League and the Premier League, we start going, okay, maybe this could be the start. I mean, this is a very far fetched, but
Yeah,
straight away when you heard that, you went, "Oh fuck off!" Yeah, I've heard
it
that shit
builds
before.
trust,
Yeah,
doesn't it? It builds
yeah.
trust
You
as a fan
start.
base.
It gives it credibility that okay,
Mm.
that is the project, so to speak. That is the
You've
end
had a
game,
good
and
window.
it all
Yeah.
starts now. Yeah, not well. We're just going to roll out, and then at the end of the window, it's Dominic Calvert-Lewin rolling through the door, and Pax or whatever he's called, or Yak, that other kid, and
Hold
someone else
on.
we've never heard of. Do you know what I mean? You're like, hang, that don't wash. You know what I mean? You can't say that and then do that.
100%.
You've
100%.
gone
Sav,
and on video now saying it.
100%. I just want to say, Sav, I see you doing that to chat. Are you telling me you wouldn't take Trossard over Tell?
I'll take my
I
nan
wouldn't-
over Tell.
Thank you.
But hang on. I think the difference is let's join up some dots here.
Okay.
So what we're saying is we're going to buy Trossard from Arsenal. First of all, never going to happen.
Yes,
And if
buy
it did
Eze.
happen, we're saying, do you know what? We know you can't afford Eze. Here's the money. Go and buy him. I mean, we'd have to be the.
Well, we've done that. We've done that for
Oh,
Bayern,
for sure.
didn't we?
For sure.
We've done that for Bayern. They wanted
Yeah.
Luis Diaz. They didn't have the money really. So can you take Tell, please? Whatever you want, just take him, please. And and straight away they go and get Luis Diaz.
Listen, it's
So
not that I
you
don't
know
think
on this,
Trossard's a good player, but I don't really want to go and buy the player that Arsenal want to sell so that they can buy better. I feel like that would be. I feel like that would be the kick in the teeth, Connor.
Yeah,
really for me,
course.
that would be awful.
I completely agree. I don't. Yeah, and look, I don't. I think Trossard's decent, but I think
He's not
we
like the
should
other
be
two.
doing. Savino is much better than Trossard, for example. I think.
Oh, my goodness. Night and
Yeah,
day.
I mean, on this point, as I said, if they have done it, they will need to do a company's house disclosure, so we'll find out pretty quickly.
Take their time with that, Connor. Like I said, they publish their
Yeah,
accounts
they-
late on many.
Yeah,
days.
well,
you know what I mean.
fair,
They're not.
fair
They
joke.
don't give a
Connor
shit.
thinking it's the first thing they thought of.
Yeah.
Minute
But the
one.
cynic-
company's house.
Yeah, the cynic in me is saying, we've heard this all before when protests have been planned, haven't we? Suddenly the Qataris are going to buy us, and then there's this, and just to sort of the PR spin. So let's see. Let's hope it's true, and but we'll see.
Can I ask a quick question? And it really bugs me.
Go for
Why,
it.
whenever we are looking to buy a player or a couple players, do you suddenly start seeing in social media sponsorship deal happening? Owners are investing money. We have the fucking money sitting there. Why does it come up every time? But these two players, it's happened again. What is that? Why does that come up? Is that something to irritate Spurs
Because
fans?
we never operate that way, isn't it? I think
that's what it is.
I
Yeah,
made this
right,
point with Sam. When we did the Gibbs White deal straight after Kudus, I was like, everyone's justifying it by saying investment must be coming because it's so alien for us to operate that way, whereas for other clubs that's the norm.
The problem is though. Listen, I get it. The cynic the cynical fan will turn around and say, oh, well, you know, protests are announced. And then in that very same week, EZE, Savio. Now, the quick way to shut that down is those players get bought and you can turn around and go, come on, this had nothing to do with it. If they don't get bought, it could turn quite nasty, because what I've starting to see today is the links that are coming back. Now, they're not like Ornstein or Romano type links, but I'm seeing things like, if Tottenham miss out on EZE, they're going to look at Buonotti of Brighton. And you think to yourself, is he Brighton or Leicester? I can never remember. Brighton, isn't he? And I look and I think to myself, decent footballer, but again, if Spurs signed Buonotti or El Canouse right now, after the links with EZE and Savio, I think the whole fan base sits there and goes, so like, what does it matter, right? Like if we don't sign these top players, we are going to have a tough season. We really are, guys. So I think this is. I've said it so many times on that group chat today, guys, so I apologize. But this is sliding doors. This is big for the fans, and this is big for ENIC and their ownership. Get these two over the line, and they can turn around and go, we've brought you in 4 first-team players. 1 from Bayern Munich, right? Yeah. 2 from London rivals, if you will, in Palace and West Ham, and 1 from Manchester City. That's a great window.
And quality players as well, not just 4 average starters. Yeah. 4 quality stars.
Yeah. So it's a massive week. But hand on heart, guys, right now, is he going to Spurs or is he going to Arsenal? Before we talk Savio, where's he going in your minds? Because I've done a poll. By the way, right? And probably silly to Arsenal.
I think he stays.
Spurs fans has said Spurs, 58% Spurs. 30% Arsenal, 10% Palace, 2% somewhere else. So
I think he stays, because I think the problem they've also got is obviously Guehi's going to be out the door soon. So Parish won't want to look like he's selling all his players and get his fans on his back, not after the sort of the highs what they're at, because their fans will be like, right, we've won the FA Cup, we've just done the Charity Shield, what are we doing now? What's next for us? We should be on a upward trajectory, and all of a sudden, we've sold EZE, we're selling Guehi. They ain't going to be happy. So you've got to get in as well.
Isn't he, as well.
Yeah, and then you lose the manager, who's a very good manager. So he's got to protect the club as well, and that could be a downfall for EZE, because he'd end up in the same situation Zaha was, where he was always priced out of a move, and then he wastes the best part of his career. A club that really shouldn't be at anymore. So everything's got to start getting in gear before other clubs, the bigger clubs, sort of get their arses in and start looking at their next phase of what they're going to do, because they've done their core business, the Liverpools and that. Now they're looking at their nice to haves, or what can we do deals. Do you know what I mean? For this last part of the window, which is how it should be.
Pete, do you think that helps Spurs or hinders Spurs in terms of the EZE deal? That if Crystal Palace are going to it looks like they're going to lose Guehi and EZE. Whichever way we spin this up, it looks like they're going to. But do you think that helps Spurs, knowing that they need the money to go back into the market, and the market is slowly but surely winding down? Does that help us, or do you think that hinders us because they're going to want to hold out?
I think it hinders us because they don't. Obviously, they've got to look at who they're going to get. Let's be honest; they're not going to get another EZE type quality player. They're not. Sure. They're not going to do it. Yeah. So, but
they should be going for the El Canouses. That's what they should be doing.
Stuff. Yeah, right? Exactly. Not us. Yeah. So they.
Right.
And then it's the same for every club along the line. This club, Leicester, they might prepare to sell Canouse, but they need time to get his replacement. Blah 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 blah. So there's a knock on the domino effect across all the clubs that are going to be involved in this until the end of the window. So the longer you leave it, the more chance he goes no. And if they sell Guehi and there's an uproar, and all of a sudden they start getting their fans in going, we don't want Gueze going, and we're kicking off about it. And Glasner knocks on the door and says, if you sell Eze, I'm off, because you're cutting my hands up. You're taking all my players away. Parish is then in a difficult position, and so is Eze, because this deal's not happened. So he says, right, well, you're not going now because I ain't having that. I ain't getting grief, and I'm not losing the manager. So all of a sudden the dynamic changes. So just get in and get out, and then fucking Guehi's not someone else's
Get
problems.
out,
You know
get
what
the
I mean? That's it, bosh, done. Yeah.
Well,
I
let
mean,
me ask. Sorry, go on, Benji, and then I'll bring Jay.
I was just going to say, I might be on the opposite end of the fence on that one. I feel like Eze is a bit of a Champions League whore. He wants to go and play Champions League. It is any really. It's all you read constantly. Eze wants to play Champions League. Look, you know how much power players have got these days. I think, for me, at least, just in my opinion, I feel like he's off no matter what. Where he may go, I don't know. But if you ask the question, I'll answer it. If I had to pick between Spurs and Arsenal, I'd say it's Arsenal all day long.
But Benji, don't you remember Zaha was desperate to leave, but
Yeah,
no
true.
one paid the money that Paris demanded. He said, unless that was it 80 million, until that's paid, you're not going anywhere
No,
because
I'm
you're
with
under
you.
contract. He signed a new contract for a pay rise, buyout clause gone, all that stuff. Checkmate for him.
But
And in the end, he left on a free to Galatasaray in the end after losing his best days.
his best years.
Listen,
No,
I don't want to come in and be naturally contrarian, but first of all, thanks for having me.
Please
like,
do.
people are like,
Please do.
people are like, oh,
Don't
Jay,
break the habit of a lifetime, Jay.
it's been a second. I'm like, no, Sava's mellowed in his old age. This is harmless now. Do you know what I mean?
Sava's got old.
Yeah. But
And you get 40.
hey, listen. I'm obviously, despite the Botox, I'm getting there. But we'll talk about that another day. You make a point about being a Champions League whore. Aren't all the best players Champions League whores? Don't all the best players want to play Champions League?
It's absolutely. No, it's true.
I hear what you're saying. If anything, if I'm Eze and I'm like, and I hear the logic of Arsenal, but listen, as a relatively logical person, my idea here is to rationalize why, if I'm Eze, I'd pick Tottenham over Arsenal. So you look at it from the point of view of saying, hey, Spurs have a gap for a talisman. Yeah, we have a gap for somebody to be the face of the franchise. Now, right? Madison's injured for the season. Kulu's out for the first month, 2 months, whatever. So straight away, you go into this team and you're a starter. You're a starting 11 player, for a Champions League side who just won the Europa League, right? Cool. Right, that's the starting point. Now, that's even before we get to Frank breaking down with him tactically what he wants to do with him in this team, how he's going to elevate his game, how he's going to have him knocking on the door of Tuchel's starting 11 for the World Cup next year. Because then you're going to make the argument and say, okay, where are you going to play Arsenal? You rotating left wing, you rotating, giving Odegaard a rest. They've got Odegaard, Zubimendi, Rice. You're going to go start there. Now, the last point, which I take great joy in sharing, is you're not going there to win trophies. What evidence is there that you're going there to win trophies? If you haven't won a trophy for 5 years, you cannot use we're going to win trophies as a selling point. You can only use we're going to challenge. Cool. Yeah? Respect that. Respect you're a better team than us. Respect you're going to challenge. However, the underlying point is you can't guarantee trophies. So when faced with that, and then on top of that, you give them a deadline. You say, listen, we're trying to sign this number 10. Yeah. We're going to give you 2-3 days. Yeah. Because other than that, we're going to move on. We have to move on. Are you so sure that Arsenal are going to come in for you? Yeah. That you're willing to move and pass on our window, go for that. I don't think, if I'm Eze and I want to leave Palace and I want to play Champions League football, I'm not banking on Arsenal doing that. So our hand is strong, in my opinion.
Hold on. In your opinion, which club is more likely to win a trophy in the next 5 years?
See, probably Arsenal. But you have to get over the line. You can't use the carrot dangle of we're going to win a trophy if you continually fall short. It's one of the reasons, and I don't want to be cheeky to Arsenal, but I'm gonna, is that your add-ons now, when you're talking to teams about winning trophies, teams aren't taking them. Teams aren't accepting that anymore. You got to play proper money now. Because before, you could say, we're going to do add-ons. And if we win this, we win that. Now you say that to a team and say, fuck off. You haven't won for 5 years. Why am I accepting?
If Man City put an add-on in a player's clause of, if we win the title, you get an extra 10 million, people turn around and go, well,
let's wait for the casino tomorrow. The money's in the bank.
Do you think as well, for me, guys, I feel like listen, this is all, we have to all caveat all of this conversation that none of this means anything unless Spurs meet an agreement with a price, right? So
that is it.
So
That is it. Yeah.
So let's assume we do, right? Surely the pitch to Eze is a lot of what Jay said there, isn't it? It's, you're going to be our main man, right? You're going to have all the tactical flexibility to be our main man, right? You're going to have the freedom of White Hart Lane. You're going to light up that stadium. We've got the 200 grand a week that Son has just relinquished, right? Sitting there. So wages, we're going to make you our highest paid player, right? This is a World Cup year. You're going to play, let's be fair, every game you're fit, you're going to play. And look how much the fans want you. Look how much they love you. PS, we've also signed Kudos. PS, we're also signing Savio. Look at our ambition. That for me would be my sale. And I'm hearing, not on ITK, I'm just hearing that apparently he's very good friends with Cochrane, who is who is obviously Thomas Frank's right-hand man. I think there's a big pull there. Now, Jay is right. I think on the cold face of it, you would say Arsenal would probably be more favourable than Spurs. But I think there's enough there for us to say, hang on, are you going to play every game over there? Hang on, can they afford you right now? Are you going to be the main man? I don't know, Pete. What do you reckon? Is there enough pull there?
Spurs have got a great pitch. It's clearly obvious we've got a fantastic pitch. And you know, for the most part, I do agree with Jay. However, I'll say this much. Footballers, it's all about success. And where are you most likely to succeed? It's not Tottenham. You know, if you want trophies, which all these big players want, it ain't Tottenham. That's where you're going.
Ain't Arsenal either, really. If you're looking at, that's what Jay's saying, and he's right. Although Arsenal, if you look at them, they've been closer, but you've got to look at where they are and their the process. Yeah, is that they're probably in the latter stages now. If Arteta don't do nothing this year, he could be gone.
But what have they won in the last 5-6 years? Isn't it like fucking 3 or 4 trophies? Are you sure?
They won the FA Cup.
FA Cup.
They won the FA Cup in his first year,
ago, right?
And that was Emery's team. And when he walked home the door, because he came in halfway in the season, didn't he? I think they had about 2 games left, and then he got them through that and he won it. Fair play. But since then, they've done nothing. And their fans are on his case. Their fans are on his case. They expect something this year. And I can't see them getting it personally. So it could be then, is he going to be out the door? Because Kroenke's pumped in nearly $1 billion. Yeah, you know what I mean, I want results.
Did you guys see the report today? I don't know if you discussed it. That ENIC had put money in.
Yeah, we'll believe it when we see it. Yeah,
it's all rubbish. Every time we go for a player, Jay, we put money in.
Listen. All I'm gonna say, and I'll say, I'm in a group chat with Savio. Like behind the scenes, like perfectly affable. Like actually quite like the guy, but don't tell him. So my point is that like I was talking and we were looking at it, and I was like, if like because they've arranged a protest for this weekend, and I was saying
the legs away.
Yeah, I was like, well, but the thing is, it's like, so if we sign Savio and Eze, big if, but if we sign Savio and Eze, and we'd have signed Savio, Eze, Paulinho, won a European trophy since the last protest, what exactly are you protesting? We have a new manager.
No, it's finished. It's done.
Oh yeah, 100%. So my point is that if we sign these players, the protest has to be cancelled. And not only that, I don't want to see anybody protesting for at least 6 months. At least, yeah? Because there's nothing really more the club can do at this point in time. If it doesn't work, don't throw our toys out of the pram and illustrate it by protesting. Just be like, we spent 160 plus million pounds. We brought 4 established Premier League players in. Like, we've got a new coach when people said the other coach couldn't coach. We've got a new CEO when people said Mun was ass. Like, the club is doing almost as much. Like, even if you don't like what the club did in the past, you've got to say, I'll give you 6 months at least, to see how this plays out.
Even if I agree with you, I completely agree. But even if it goes wrong, you can't say that it's their fault in a way, because we're all happy with signing these players. Sometimes players just don't work. It's football. Players go to clubs that don't work. So it's not a case of, well, it didn't work, so that's all your fault, because there's a lot of variables in that. And you got, if they pull these deals out and over the line, then you got to say, fair enough. You've done what we've asked. We've asked for top level
Yeah.
players. You brought them in. You put money in. All that. You tick all the boxes. The
Or
protest is
if we don't sign them, sure, keep protesting. But
if we don't sign them, it's a different kettle of
Hold
fish.
on, hold on.
my
So does this
decision is if we sign them?
does this
like-
transfer window paper over the cracks, though, Jay?
I mean, I feel like when we talk about papering over the cracks, you have to talk about trying to fix the cracks as well. So it's that's not discounting all the truth in what you're saying. But if you're going to be solution focused rather than problem bitching, yeah, then what's going to happen is you're going to have to see some solutions. And to me, like new CEO, buying established Premier League players, spending 50, 60 million a player and bringing multiple of them in, that is a change to me. That is an improvement. I like what I'm seeing. So when I say, okay, this is cool, let's run with this. Like, if I then am protesting, it's not that I'm ungrateful. It's just almost like, well, nothing will make me happy. It's like the boy who cried wolf. When it's actually time to protest about stuff that's really important, people are just going to see you as people that moan all the time. And that's not to say if we don't sign the players, we should protest, because we're expecting upward mobility. We finished 17th. Like, of course. But on the flip side, if we sign the players, I don't know what if people a couple of people are disagreeing, that's cool, I get it. But what would you be protesting if we sign those players? Like, as in, what would the subject matter?
Isn't that what the protest is about? Like,
Years of damage done to the team.
As somebody that doesn't want Levy and Enoch here, even though I'm told I can't be Levy and Enoch out because I don't protest, which I think is crazy. Surely the whole point of the protest is because they're not doing the things that we would then be seeing them doing. Now, as I said earlier, one summer doesn't show, oh my God, everything's changed, but it can be the catalyst. If you go and get those 4 first-team signings this window and Spurs turn into a solid 5th, 6th place team this season, people can see we're impressing and it's a good first season under Frank. It allows you next summer to turn around and go, well, look what we did last year. Savio, EZE, but we're going to go again. You 3 this year, you're going to be the 3 this year. We're going to add you. Otherwise, my only worry with it is if you're protesting, even after we've signed a brand new manager that we had to pay a lot of money for, all his coaching staff, 4 top quality first team players that have come in, just won a European trophy. I feel like if you're going to do something, do it from a position of strength. And I think at the moment, I think those people would be doing it from, when I say this, by the way, I get mocked like I did last night when I'm told that I'm belittling the protest. I'm not belittling it. I just think you'd be doing it from its weakest point, because the club will turn around and go to the media, well, hang on. Daniel Levy would have every right to turn around and go, well, hang on, in the last 3 months, we wanted to win a trophy, European trophy, tick. Most people wanted the manager out and wanted a coach in, tick. People wanted first team players to come into the club and hundreds of millions spent, tick. Like, I'm not sure at this stage that's the right time to do it. I'm not knocking it, but I just don't think.
No,
it's the right
I think
time.
if we pulled them 2 out before Saturday, then it's I think they'll cancel it. I don't think they're that stupid. And it's got to represent a line in the sand. It's the line in the sand saying, okay, this we've listened. Basically, that's what if they do all this, they're saying we've listened, we took notes, we're making changes. This is where it starts, and then we then judge that in 6 months to a year on what that looks like and how it goes from there. But it's got to be a line in the sand if they do that. But what it can't be is, well, unless them 2 players come in the door by Saturday, then the protest should still happen, because they still got to keep their foot on the throat. Personally, do I think the protesting is going to change anything? No, I don't. That's just my personal opinion. Props to everyone who goes and all that, but these people are top arseholes. If you're when you're at the top of the level they are and the amount of money they control, you're used to being a tosser. You're used to pissing people off, because you don't get there by not doing that. So it doesn't bother them. They won't lose any sleep over it.
Well, you made great points. I think the point to underline there is I have no issue with putting pressure on. I think holding the board and the club accountable, the only real way you have as a fan is protesting or not attending. Those are basically the 2 fundamental ways you have as a fan to send your message to the club. So I'm like, okay, well, if you're going to protest, you're basically trying to I see protesting as trying to hold the club to a higher standard. despite of what's actually being said and what's actually being done. Like the essence of protesting for me is like I'm trying to hold the club to a higher standard. I want us to be better than we are. And I don't really mind, the chance can be whatever, but that's the underlying principle for me. So for me, it's like when I start seeing the right conduct, I see. Listen, I'm an optimist. I could look at a squirrel and be like, I think that guy can do quantum physics. You know, like, do you know what I mean? I can see things and stuff that make no sense. So as a
I like Matisse Tell.
it's like yeah. So I'll be like, cool. So if we're looking at it from that point of view, the club have done a lot of good if they sign these two players. But if they don't, I agree. The protest should probably still go ahead because you're trying to say to the club, we want high quality players. If you sign those high quality players, the conversation can shift. But it only shifts when you sign those players, not when you're in for the players or when you're trying to negotiate. Only when you sign the players can
so
people
Jay, let me ask you this. And obviously, I know you're someone who's not on that side of the fence. But equally, wouldn't it be interesting if, let's say, the deals haven't been concluded by Saturday morning for Savio and EZE? But equally, Spurs are out there trying to make it happen. We've got representatives trying to convince these guys, come to Spurs, look at the stadium, look at our fan base, look at everything. And then in the media, what they see is us protesting down the high street. Is that the best look for two new players that we're trying to get over the line? I'm not sure it is. I'm not.
I want to play devil's advocate, if that's okay. Look, the way I look at Daniel Levy. No, the way I look at Daniel Levy is like a cheating wife. Does it once, you're not going to forgive her. All right, look, listen. Let's not forget the years and years and years of fluffed up transfers. You know, we tried to go and get this player just to save their bacon when you probably know they didn't. You know, the years of abuse the Spurs fans have had to endure for the most part. So when these people go and do their protest, and I know it doesn't look good right now because, hey, look, she bought me a Ferrari. For the first time in our history, we've gone and got, well, if this all happens, you know, 4 players worth in and around sort of the 60 million mark. Spurs have never done that before. So all I'm trying to say is I think it's very difficult to disregard what they're doing because, yeah, okay, we've had one really good transfer window and we're super happy if this all comes off. But I am not, and I know Spurs fans aren't either, going to forget the years and years of issues that Daniel Levy's given us.
Let me just come back to that point. And by the way, there's people in the chat. Listen, these are just conversations. Like, I'm not trying to stop anyone to protest. I've said that. Everyone who goes to protest, good luck to you. Knock yourselves out. Crack on with it. I'll tell you what, it starts at 1:30 for anyone that wants to know. Get yourselves down there. Problem for me, Benji, is surely if you are, has somebody got a TV on?
Somebody got a TV on. Like, how dare you? Like, silence.
No. It's more because of copyright than anything. If people are protesting, Benji, right? I look at it like this. The reason I've not liked leaving Enoch is that I've wanted to turn around and say to them, oh, I want a bit more in the transfer window. Yeah. Everyone knows I've always said I don't blame them for a lot of things, but I blame them for transfer windows. If they've bought in Vinay and then Vinay Venkatesham's come in as the new whatever he is, right? If I'm bringing in Thomas Frank as a new coach of his coaching staff, if they've bought in Charrington, and then the first window those guys are there, you see 50, 60 million pound players. Now, I know Palhinha's on loan, but he went last year for 50, 60 million, whatever.
Yeah,
you see 4 players come through the door like that. Isn't that what I asked for, Benji? Like,
I'm with you. I just feel like the damage has been done. No, I'm 100%. Listen, and again, I don't hate Levy completely. You know, that man has made us, he's made us a bigger club without winning anything, which is quite phenomenal. And there is no one else, no other chairman that I know of that's done that. You know, the guy is a genius. But I just think the damage has been done. And that's why I don't necessarily completely disagree with the continuing process.
Damage has been done how? Is it like if we have a great window and start going up the league table, listen, we can't change the past, but Listen, I'll let other people go. This is I shouldn't talk too much, and
No,
I just
I know what you're saying. I think it's about if
It's
this
hard to
window
forget.
goes how it's hard to forget, but I think you've got to start because if at the end of the day they're not going anywhere, we're not going anywhere. So it's okay. And if they change the way, I mean, I was full on Levy out and ENIC out and all that. Now I'm more ENIC out than Levy out because I don't like the owners. But again, they can change my perspective by putting money in and turning the club around. That's all I've ever asked for. So I can't moan if they then do that. Yes, I can. What about the 2015 window and all that? But it's all done. It's not about, for me, it's not about what happened before. It's about what happens coming up. So you got to say, otherwise we'll never get anywhere and you keep going back to old news. And I've asked the same question to a few people. I asked Lubo earlier twice. I never got a reply actually. If say we had 10 years of success from now, 10 years of success, we've won the league twice, we go deep in the Champions League, we've won 3 domestic cups. Would you forget the past 25 years? Would that wipe the slate
Yeah.
clean?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do
You think there has to be a starting point of forgiveness?
Yeah,
and
you've got to start.
forward?
Yeah, but it's got to start. You guys, I said it's got to be a line. You got to go right. This is a line in the sand because you've done what we've asked for, but you got to continue doing what we've asked for. It's not. It can't just be a flash in the pan or one off. You got to be. I think as people who are against the owners and the chairman and whatever. Too often that conversation goes to irrational sides. As soon as there's a concert, Levy this and money in his pocket and all this bollocks, when it don't, and every time there's another event, but the stadium's not playing football that week. So what are you moaning for? I don't understand. I don't care what they do in there as long as it don't affect the football side. Concerts, fucking kids club, whatever you want doing it, do it. Yeah, as long as the money comes in. You know what I mean? Who cares? Yeah, when there's no football going on there, who gives a shit? Yeah. But people use that as a stick to bash it.
They used to care. This is the point I've always made. Every low-hanging fruit that's been plucked or disregarded because it's rotten, because the narrative has been explained to them that there's no logic to the notion of hating on the football club for turning it from a stadium into a multi-purpose arena. That used to be the stick. It used to be the stick. And then it was explained, actually, that's a benefit, not a cost. It's a massive benefit. So now you would understand that. Okay, yeah, no, let's move on. Okay, so that's not the problem anymore. Now it's we don't spend enough money. Okay, but then we actually have spent £120 million every year for the last 5 years, 150 million, or whatever it is on average. Okay, well then we can't argue that anymore. Now let's move to the wage to turnover ratio, even though no one understands what that actually fucking means and what that actually looks like. They don't understand the metrics of like denominators and numerators. That's the low hanging fruit because somebody else has got a big platform, said so. Therefore, that's the narrative. As soon as that thing changes, I don't know where they're going to go next. I don't know where they're going to go until they zoom outside of football, outside of Tottenham, and look at football overall. And then they'll find some other reason to be unhappy. The people that are running the Change for Tottenham protest, they are putting lipstick on a pig. Right? They might say it's change and change can mean anything to anyone. So the people that are putting out the protests, go and look at their Twitter handles. They are Levy out. They are Brian Daigle. They are Stell. They are Lubo levels of Levy out. Any stick will do. Any moment will suffice. Any opportunity will be great. And what they are doing right now are doing it on the first game of the season. They are going the early crow because what are they moaning about? Are they protesting because the window's been shit? The window hasn't finished yet. The window hasn't closed. Are they moaning that Tottenham don't win enough trophies? Well, apart from the Brighton game, the last time we kicked a competitive game, we lifted the biggest trophy that you can lift. Right? Are they moaning that we're not getting rid of players? Are they moaning that we're not buying players? I don't know what this particular protest is about. But whatever the logical next iteration of their moan is, once one thing gets knocked off, they'll move to the next low-hanging fruit. And when that one is suddenly exposed, they'll move on to the next one. But doing it on the first game of the season stinks of opportunism. And I hope more than just for Tottenham's benefit, more than just for the benefit of Tottenham Hotspur bringing in 2 players, I really hope that we sign Savio and EZE just so that they can shut the fuck up for 5 minutes and let Tottenham do their thing.
All right, Sean. I wasn't finished by that.
Hi, Sean.
It's not like Sean.
Good evening.
I agree with a lot of that. But I think for the way before this all started happening with these 2 players, the way this window was going, I think it's right to put pressure on before the end of the window, because don't allow it to get to the window. Not that it might not do anything, but I do think it was getting that bad where we've not done nothing really. We've got a new manager in, blah, 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 blah. We're in the Champions League, and we've not done anything with the platform that the Europa League winners provided as to this point. Yeah, I do think they're entitled to, and I understand the need for a protest. Say, look, we're not gone away. You need to sort out. A lot of what you said is valid, where they will go from certain people will go until they will go from one point to the other because until they can't get knocked back anymore. But on this point, I do agree with the idea of a protest. I know it's the first game of the season, all that, but if you, as I think Benji said, if you look at the history of how we operate, yeah, it's following the same pattern where we get left short. Yeah, and hopefully that stops now with what they're trying to do, if that is indeed what they're trying to do.
Can I ask all a question?
It takes the legs away from the protest.
Can I ask you all a question? Can I ask you all a question?
Go on.
This is the interesting thing. So listen, a lot of what Sean said, I agree with. And first of all, if people are going to protest, let's just forget that it's the first day. Because I think that the timing, I think the first game of the season is just, I just think it's so not fair on Frank, the players, the new coach. I just think it's poor. But let's say that everyone wants to protest. Sean, what you've just said there, does that mean that people would be comfortable if we get to the end of this window and we don't get an EZE and we don't get Savio, and the players that are coming in are the El Canuses and the Buonottis, who are players that we should be signing even if we're not in Europe? If that does happen, then would you have a little bit more?
Yeah,
I don't think
I'll be the first one.
Where did that yeah come from? The bowels of the
No, I will be the first one. Listen, I'm always at the protests anyway. Always. I go to every single protest because I think I appreciate the right to protest. I don't sing the Levy out chants. I don't sing the Kulusevski chant. Don't do any of that bollocks. But I am always at the protest, mainly because content has to content, as we spoke about last night. But ultimately,
shameless,
yeah, it is what it is. I know, but I respect the right. And actually, on the big one, the 3,000 people, whenever it was, that January, I had like 10 random conversations with people that came up to me and wanted to get on interview. I only published 2 of them because this content schedule was it was too crowded. But they ate all of them. Like they came with me with different reasons why they're there. Some of them are like, Levy's done a good job, but they can't take us to that next level. Some are like, no, I'm Levy out regardless. Anyone but him will do. And there was a mixture of in between, right? And I respect it. I respect everybody's version of wherever they feel. But and I'll be there. I'll be there on Saturday, and I'll be there but for me personally, I think the timing of this one stinks. And my advice to change for Tottenham is to keep your powder dry, because even if we don't get Savio and EZE done before Saturday, there's nothing to say we won't get 2 like them or those 2 between Saturday and the end of September. The end of August. And if we do get those guys in, I don't know what they're protesting about.
But Sean, did you trust the club to do that though? If that did, would you trust the club to do it based on what?
Yeah, but hold on. But
based on the fact that we spent 400 million quid in the last 2 years, based on the fact that we know where we are in the pecking order. But if I'm entirely honest, I think that, I've said this for ages, right? I've said that I actually, as much as it's frustrating for Sava and me and for people that do content, it's incredibly frustrating that we don't get to know much about any transfers, and that you could almost use any of these, like, oh, Tottenham are interested in this guy, that guy. You can use it as a filtration process and say, the fact we're talking about it probably isn't going to happen because the ones we do sign kind of come out of nowhere. Savio is a player that I would absolutely wet myself if we signed. I'm actually a little bit frustrated that of all of the links that have come out that haven't yet been closed, Savio is the type of name that Tottenham will go and put an interest in, and then Chelsea or Arsenal or someone else will go and gazump us. So of all of the players that Tottenham have kept their cards close to their chest for, I'd much rather it had been Savio than Morgan Gibbs-White. Much rather we didn't say a fucking word about that to anybody. The fact that that's leaked is, for me, a bit of a problem because there's a chance now that someone else is going to come in and gazump us.
But you're admitting if those types of signings don't come off between now and September the 1st, you're admitting that then those fans will have every right to say, hang on, you've moved us off, right?
You must know, mate, that I'm someone that's like, I'm categorized as someone that's Levy in. I'm not. I'm not, right?
I'm hosting. I'm just sitting on the.
Yeah,
I'm asking.
but Sean, I'm saying, but that if you look at all the windows we've had, I agree with the money we spent, the amount of money we spent has always been it's gone up with the stadium, blah blah blah. Yeah, I agree with you on that. But in terms of the player we've bought, the quality of player normally has remained the same as what we bought was in White Hart Lane. We just buy more of them. We spread that money more. If this happens, this is the first time where we've actually gone out and bought proper players, proper quality players, where the whole fan base can go and we'll go.
You say that, Pete, right? You say that, Pete. But how? Just to play again, devil's advocate, not in the defense of Daniel Levy, but just in the defense of like the argument. What other clubs have got to a Champions League final in the last 5 years and to Europa League final and won one of them and lost on a shitty situation that basically crucified the game in a first-minute penalty against us? How many teams that are not part of the always that have been, or the Johnny come latelys that got in front of the sort of closing the door after the horse was bolted, like is in City and Chelsea? How many teams in Europe, not just the Premier League, in European football, were always part of the kind of fifth or lower that have done what Daniel Levy's tenure has provided in the last 5 years since moving into the new stadium?
Yeah, but Sean, we're not talking about that. You're not trying. There's no point selling it to me. I agree with a lot of what you're saying. What I'm talking about is the basis on the faith that they will deliver.
You're saying the caliber of player that we sign is similar to what we used to sign under at White Hart Lane. And I'm saying when we were in White Hart Lane, we never got to European finals. Under Daniel Levy, under the new stadium, which is Daniel Levy's his shining light, his shiny toy, that has provided us with the opportunity to get up to 2 European finals in 5 years. How many clubs in Europe have done that? Not many.
Hold on, before you go,
that's not down the caliber of player.
Before you go, I'm snatching this karaoke mic because obviously it's like, if you don't ask, you don't get. Okay, so listen. I feel like I'm now like, donning the mask now. I feel like because this is quite a centrist / left leaning show. We need somebody on the right wing. We need a Pete Kanchelskis to push the right wing side of this. And listen, I like to think I'm a very logical guy. But the one thing I've got is I've got nuance and I've got empathy. And I do understand heavily the people who rationalize Enoch, Levy out, this and that. And I'm a big fan of the argument Sean made. I make that argument all the time. It's one of my number one things about how the team's grown and things like that. The frustration of not winning manifests itself in different ways for different fans, and I get that very much when I'm speaking to these fans. So it's a thing where it's like I can almost talk to any unless you're ridiculous. Yeah, I can talk to any Tottenham fan at length about Tottenham Hotspur because this is the club. We all love it, right? But I also try and understand when those fans want more from the team. There's times I back the team and back to what the club has done in a transfer window. And when it's played out, I've been proven wrong for backing the club. So some people who've been like, these guys aren't good enough, they were proven right. They might have just been doomsayers per se. Broken clock is right twice a day. But they were correct, and I was incorrect in backing the vision. Now, if you've done that a few years and you've got a certain level of things, I get it. Like I'm not gonna not get it, but I also expect those fans to be fair. And the logic that they used to beat the team when the team wasn't getting over, you didn't care for nuance when we were finishing second and not winning the league. You didn't care for nuance when we were making Champions League finals. But now you want nuance when we win the Europa League and finish 17th. You can't have it both ways. 100%. Winning a trophy was one of the biggest things. Yeah,
I think we're moving away from the subject there because
no. I'm just
talking about the faith.
It's not. It's all part of the bigger picture.
The faith in the window. What I'm saying, the whole point was saying the protesting because of the windows being shit. So
yeah, no, but my point was essentially saying I understand the nature of it, but it's a level of be logical and keep consistent in your arguments of if it's about first team players, give them the window, or if those players come in, you can't protest because there's no logic to it. Because
I agree with that. I completely agree.
We're on the same point. So I'm just like I'm just basically saying on Sean's point, I understand why some fans are unhappy enough to still want to protest regardless, but I'm just asking them to show a bit of logic.
Yeah,
Like
those people, Jay, those fans that want to protest. This is the reason. I did a terrible job. I apologized on my stream just now. I'll apologize to however many thousands of people are watching now. I did an absolute shit show of my hosting yesterday, so I apologize to everyone. It won't happen again.
I don't know why you're apologising. What I would like to do, guys.
Okay,
Sean, you don't need to apologise. Sean, you don't need to apologise. Listen, come on, this is what these shows are about, guys. What I'd like to do, I'd like to do some super chats, and I'd like to move on to some football, away from the owners. By the way, for anyone that does care, Newcastle United have just announced Malik Thiaw has signed, and Romano has just announced that Jacob Ramsey is very close to a here we go to Newcastle as well. So Newcastle United are just starting to fill out this squad. Ramsey, Alanga, Thiaw, Ramsdale, whatever floats the boat on those ones for people. Let me have a look at some super chats and then we'll talk Basuma, because Basuma's been a naughty boy, hasn't he? Again. Big up to Emma Morton. Thank you very much, Emma. Always very generous inside the chat. If Emma can be generous with the super stickers always, out of the 1,200 of you in here, and there's been nearly 1,200 the whole show, only 350 of you have smashed the like button. I haven't asked for an hour and 25 minutes. Come on, that should be at 600-700. So please, can 300-400 of you smash that? Thank you very much, Emma. I really appreciate you. Terry O'Shea, big up to you, my man. Thank you very much. Good chatting with you last night on WhatsApp as well. So big up to you, my man. Thank you very much for the super sticker. Mbappe boy. Well, that says, if you lot bid an Arsenal bid, he will go to Arsenal. He's wanted to join them all summer and hasn't even looked at you. The only way you get Eze is if Arsenal don't bid, never going to happen. Mbappe boy, yeah, he might want to go to Arsenal, but when you're saying he hasn't even looked at us, he can't look at us when we've not been talking to him or putting a bid. I think we've got to, you've got to know
how does he know?
Yeah, you've got to know how.
Just quickly, that's like not true. So like, I know Johnny in that. I won't say what I'm not allowed to say things that I'm not allowed to say, but like, there's so much more to that than what that particular super chat.
Of course. And listen, I get it. People are running with a narrative that they think Arsenal have been in talks with him. Spurs haven't. Called into the media. I get what people are saying, but listen, what will be will be. If we get him, we get him. If we don't, let's move on to someone else. Big up to you, Mbappe boy. You've come in again and said the thing is you lot will get into a bidding war, because then it gets stupid and goes up to 70 to 80 million. If it's a bidding war, he picks Arsenal. I can guarantee you right now, the fact that Arsenal need to sell to buy means they're not going to be in a bidding war for 80 million. And I can tell you now, Spurs won't go as high as 80 million. So if that's the case, he ends up staying at Palace. So I don't think it does go to 80 million at all, my friend. But I hear what you're saying.
I've got it in front of me right now. Fabrizio Romano, Eberici as a keen on Tottenham move.
Yeah,
coming from Fabrizio Romano.
I mean, you got to do all that with a pinch of salt. All these people, Romanos, and do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but do we believe?
I don't know.
Desperate to come. Morgan Gibbs was desperate to come to Tottenham. He ain't here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the thing is, do we truly believe that a player from Crystal Palace, no disrespect, wouldn't be interested in joining Tottenham Hotspur? Like, I feel like
Johnny's made it clear to me just quickly. Johnny knows a thing or two about thing or two with that particular thing. Johnny said if Tottenham bid and get the deal done, he'll come to Tottenham.
Yeah. Listen,
he might be willing to go to Arsenal, but he wants to play Champions League football. So it's about if the club can make the deal with Crystal Palace, he'll come to Tottenham. If Arsenal make the deal with Crystal Palace, he'll go to Arsenal. It's not that complex.
Sure, that's what I said all along. Get the deal done. We'll get the player. But let's see. Big up to big up to the original Mutt, who has said, "Come on, you Spurs," and thank you very much for that super chat, because you've also become a new channel member. So thank you very much. There'll be a members only show, probably Thursday or Friday of this week. So look out for that. Thank you very much. And you're now invited to those shows. Big up to you. Big up to Sparky's Spurs. Big up. I think that's Mark. Thanks, Mark. Really appreciate the super sticker. It's very generous of you, my man. Big up to Russell Coy. Rick Kane, this is. Thank you for the super sticker, my man. Always very generous out there in Australia. And this is Paul Watkins. My memory is fantastic. Big up to you. He says, Sean, don't beat yourself up, mate. Love your shows. Yeah, listen, I don't know why I said it earlier to Sean. No need to apologize. Nothing happened last night. I thought it was all of us being how all of us are. So it doesn't really matter.
I dialed back through that show to try and clip it up. and when I heard myself, I mean, I'm my biggest self critic anyway. I hate watching myself back, but whenever I was speaking, I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, Butler, shut up.
Mate, it's all good. It's all
I
good.
watched it. Yeah,
Guys, let's
I'll give you a report in the morning.
let's move. Let's move
Make
on,
it
guys.
5 minutes,
Guys, let's move on. Let's move on to before we get to the PSG game, which obviously is tomorrow night. PSG looks like they're losing Donnarumma. Looks like there's been some disrespect, according to Donnarumma's agent. We'll get there in a minute. But Thomas Frank had a lot to say today. And I say had a lot to say. He was asked a lot of questions. And he mentioned that Basuma not being the most professional and turned up late a number of times, I believe was the quote. And because of that, he said that actions have consequences and he's being left out of the squad. That's what we want, right? We want that to happen, don't we? We want a manager that's going to be strict with these players. And does this spell the end of Basuma at Tottenham Hotspur?
You're going to struggle to sell him now. I bet. I wish he would say that. I nearly had him out the door. Now that's going to cost me £3 million because I've got to sell him for cheap. The bloke's a fucking idiot. I mean, he's always late getting back into our box and all when the team won the attack, the opposition. I just think if you can't. I mean, I know they're footballers and all that, but he's got a great opportunity of his life to obviously to earn a lot of money, to have a great career that kids dream about, and he's wasting it being late, which is a basic. It's just I ain't got time for people to be late, to be honest, and doing balloons and all that shit. You just think, why are we wasting our time with this geezer? Just get rid of him as quick as possible.
Do you know what? I actually think Basuma's a bit of an enigma. I can remember when we first signed him. I think we got him for about 35 million, and I sat there and I thought, this is a 60 million pound player. He was sublime at Brighton, right? But I agree with Pete. I think you can only accept so much when it comes to a player doing the things he does. I mean, wasn't he doing some sort of drugs not so long ago, or shisha plug, whatever it was? Now, come on, now you are a professional footballer. You've got a responsibility to your club, to your fans. As far as I'm concerned, at this point, shove him in the reserves and get him the fuck out of our club. I don't care what people bid for him. Get him gone. It's not a good look around the club, is it? Really, you don't need that. I mean, look at Arteta and Aubameyang turned up to training late a few times.
Yeah, so the only thing I'd say is you're right completely. I mean, I was like, was I late today? I was late today. Was I late yesterday? I was late yesterday. Was I late today? I might have been late the day before. And I'm just like, I get it. Obviously, we should hold.
And you still got a job.
I do still have a job. Do you know what I mean? No one forced me out of my job. Do you know what I mean? Like,
last 5 minutes for me, boy.
I kind of work for myself. So when you say it like that, yeah. And but the point remains, 100%. I think Basuma has shown. I didn't love the signing when we got him. I felt like I got, like a tidal wave of, oh, what a great signing. And I got swept up in it. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, looking back, Conte was like, he didn't understand the system. Also, there's behavior, lateness, laughing gas, lateness under Conte, lateness under Frank. It's just like, obviously, at the levels you want a professional to be, he's fallen way short. We bombed Ndombele out for less.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, Jay, can I just jump in ever so quickly? I just want to interrupt you for 2 seconds. I just want to say this about him. I do feel bad a little bit for the guy in terms of his footballing ability. And call me crazy or disagree with me if you like. He's not been used to his full ability. If you ask me what sort of player Basuma is, I would say he's a number 8. Not fantastic, but a box to box number 8. He's not a number 6. And Conte, every manager that's come beforehand has used him as a number 6. I don't think that is his role. So in terms of his footballing ability, I just feel like he's been used wrong. That is the only part of Basuma that I feel bad for him for. Sorry,
you say that, Ben, but when Andrew's first few games, him and Madison were running it. And then he got that red card at Luton for diving. And it's like someone else came back. It's got that because then you thought, hang on, this is the Basuma we got excited about. And I think it was 25 million we paid for him in the end because Brighton, he was coming last year and all that. It was a great deal. And you thought, and you saw what he did at times, mainly to us. And you think we'll have a bit of that, and then we finally got after he signed with Conte. We thought, where's this player? Some of us, and I was one of us, said, you know what, he just don't work in the system. But if you get him in the midfield free and you can let him run around a bit, he'll do bits. And then Ange comes in, fair play, he lets him do it, and he's breaking the lines, he's doing everything. And then since that red card, it's like it's never been the same for him since, and it's gone downhill. I mean, maybe he's got personal problems, I don't know.
Pete,
but at the end of the day, he's a professional footballer. He's got to behave in a certain way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pete, don't you think 100%. As well? But by the way, I can't rewrite history. I won't be a revisionist. I wanted him when we signed him. And I think that at the time, I think we were in a period where we really didn't have any good central midfielders. So I think when we bought in Basuma at the time, I think it was like, oh my God, look at him compared to what we've got. It was a bit like when we bought in Bentancur and Kulu, because of the players that they were replacing, I think we put them just a bit too high than they actually were, because they were replacing the likes of Winks and Sissoko, right?
Yeah.
But Basuma now seems to be a real problem, guys, that we can't seem to, for whatever reason, we haven't been able to shift him on. Whether that's that he doesn't want to go, whether or not that he's trying to run down his contract and get a sign-on fee next year, because he'll be a free agent next year. But does comments like today, does that kind of now seal the deal that, listen, mate, you're not going to be part of the 25-man squad. You will not be playing if you do not go and find a new club. Is that what we need to do? Do we need to be that ruthless? Like Man United were with Garnacho, Sancho, Anthony. They didn't take them on tour. It was like, go and find clubs. Will we do that now with 3 weeks of the window to go?
I'd give props if they did.
Well, what happened to throwing players in reserves? There's
no reserve league anymore.
Just one thing on what Savio said just then. The one thing I'll just say in terms of like the perception, this is the thing why I always say about fans of clubs, when they look at their players versus other players, it's like, you're looking at a player from a team that's like a top 10, top 14 team. Do you know what I mean? Performing well in a top 10, top 14 team is different to performing well for a top 6 team. Do you see what I mean? Like the relative performance level, it doesn't look the same. Do you know what I mean? Because there's different stresses. So it's not really an issue. We've got this issue now with other players. Bring Kudus in. Yeah, he'll look nice with the dribbly stuff, but can I have some goals, Hermano? Do you know what I mean? Like, where's the meat? Where's the steak? Too much side. These are all issues that we're going to see. How good is Frank's coaching? Because he's got a squad of players that are capable, but don't have the CV of accumulating goals at this present moment. And I think it would be naive of the fan base to ignore that when we've lost so many goals from the side. Do you know what I mean? So when you're judging the players, that's fine. Bizuma, in terms of what we're looking for, was he? I don't know. Like we played a 2-man with Conte where you can do everything. Do you know what I mean? Up, down, back, forth, couldn't do it. Do you know what I mean? So it's like he had the opportunity to do that, but wasn't cutting it. I feel like he's had the opportunity in multiple different systems, styles of play. Never been I think he was, for me, pound for pound, very disappointing signing. If you look at the profile like he had coming in and how it's gone, and even those first 10 games under Ange, when people are, he's better than Rice, blah 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 blah. I remember those. I remember some chats. Trust me, people were going crazy for those first 10 games. And I'll look at it back and I'll say, you know what? He had the opportunity. Maybe that solo 6 is such a difficult position. No one can play it, but he's had the opportunity in pivots. He's had the I just feel it's not worked out. Maybe a tiny bit from the managers, but mainly on Bizuma. It's mainly,
he seems like it's his own worst enemy.
Do you feel it's a lack of effort with him? Because the problem is when he turns up, I'm going to say it sounds like I'm arguing for him now. When he turns up, I actually think he's a fantastic little player. Well, I really do.
I think the thing for me is I look at it from like a concentration level point of view. Do you know what I mean? As in, like he can do. It's like,
can you cook?
He just gets distracted by shit. Like he'll just like, oh, there's a butterfly, and he'll just be like, oh, but like the logic.
As a left back.
Yeah.
Do you know what though, Jay? When he's on it, he's on it.
What my spuds into. Just the thing on Bizuma is like I think the level of work.
Dum-dum.
the level of work that he needs to put in to deliver the performance he needs to do, he's not willing to do it.
Yes,
No, that's what I'm
absolutely
saying. He's his
on
own
point.
worst enemy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not
Absolutely.
even a worst enemy thing. It's like you have to concentrate and focus all 100%. As soon as you drop below that, you're gonna put an erratic performance. And that's the thing for me. It's just like and I can't begrudge that, because I'm like, in life, it's very difficult for anyone to concentrate 100% of the time. Do you see what I mean? So it's like, I get it.
When you're being paid 100K a week, Jay?
Listen, he's just not capable of doing it. That's my point.
I think he sets limits to how much he's prepared to go.
That's I don't even know if he is or isn't capable of doing it.
Guys, this is the difference between a good player and a quality player. These are the small things that determine the players that play for the big clubs and the players that don't. So, for example, when I watch Caicedo at Chelsea, Caicedo switched on. Right, you watch him. He's switched on. His positioning's very good. He's good in the tackle. He's good with the ball. He's efficient. He's getting better and better and better. Right now, I look at Declan Rice again. He's another one. Declan Rice, whether Arsenal win or not, Declan Rice is normally a very consistent performer. You know what you're going to get from him. You know he's brilliant with certain things. When you watch the Basumas, listen. Sorry, this might not go down well. Even sometimes when I watch the Bentancurs, I just feel like they're that next level below, that on their day, you go, God, what a player. But too many days where you go non-existent. And for me, the better players might not always have a 9 out of 10, but they'll always give you an 8. They're always, and Basuma just hasn't done that on the 3 or 4 managers.
A good game for 2 years.
Not that I don't like him as a player, but if you can't do it consistently, you are not that level. And unfortunately, that's what the top managers do. They get rid of those players. They're ruthless with that.
But one thing on top of that, Savio, is a really good point. I want to expand on it a little bit, because when you look at those players, the one thing I'd add on to it is they've got a framework of skill set that they can rely upon consistently. If you think about Bentancur and Bazuma, their base skill set can be a little erratic. If Rice can have a default 7 out of 10 game, and he won't play the risky passes. He'll just keep it ticking over. He'll just Bentancur and Bazuma, to an extent, they don't do that. It's like their framework of what a solid performance is erratic. It's like they can get to a 6.5 perfectly, but then they freestyle the rest. And some days they're on it, and some days they're not. Some days it's a 7.5. Some days it's a 7. Some days it's an 8. Some days it's a 6. Sometimes it's a -1. But that's the thing with these top players. The focus to keep it simple, to concentrate on the game, to be dialed in. That's the one thing I've always said about football. IQ is the most expensive thing to buy in football. Players having smart players with good football IQ. That's what you're paying for a lot of the time. And we have a lot of stupid players. No offense.
Jay, do you think it comes down from the top, though? Because I think Tottenham Hotspurs makes life very easy for their players. I mean, Harry Kane said it himself. The mindset between Spurs and Bayern Munich is night and day. Like, he said, you can lose a game at Tottenham and they're like, oh, well, we get the next one. You lose a game at Bayern Munich and it's just all hell, is let loose. I wonder how much
is that mindset, or is that the fact that Bayern Munich are the biggest club in Germany and have to win every season?
But shouldn't you push for that though, Sav? We claim to be a big club. Should you not really be?
Sure, but the levels are that's
no,
like
of course,
saying,
I get that.
Sorry, go on.
I think there's a difference between performance on the pitch and the way you conduct yourself. You know what I mean? If you might not perform on the pitch for various reasons, but you still got to conduct yourself in a professional manner, turning up on time. Do you know what I mean? Harry Kane's a prime example, proper pro. You don't see him hanging out at nightclubs. There's some players who can do that and still deliver. Yeah, Wayne Rooney didn't look after himself, and that's why he probably was never in the top echelons of the Messi's, Ronaldo's. That his ability probably should have took him. Jermaine Defoe every week was hanging out at the back of a page 3 girl, different every week, but on a Saturday he turned up and done a business. Yeah, he could do it.
Legend.
Jermaine Defoe, that's my favourite Spurs player, right? Apparently he was always phenomenal in training. by the way.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But he conducts himself in the right way, and whether you're a footballer or a cashier, it makes no difference. If you have certain principles, I'm there on time, I give you 110%, I listen to what I'm told, blah 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 blah. Yeah, I don't do nothing stupid. When you're obviously a professional footballer, it comes with some added extras because you bring the club into disrepute if you get caught doing stupid things and all that sort of stuff. So he seems to not be able to do the basic conduct himself properly right. So there's no shock that really it spills over onto the pitch. I said it doesn't apply to everyone, but majority of these players
It
that
does
do
happen to a lot,
it does move on to the pitch. Grealish
But
has been another
That's
example
why it
lately
makes me
where
think
he's been hanging out the back of clubs and turning up my beef and all the rest of it, crashing his motor and all drink driving, and now he's playing for Everton. So it can the fall from grace can happen pretty quickly.
But before you go, Savio, the one thing is like, if Grealish could have any manager, like an old schooly manager like Moyes, who might give him, you know, like a bit of tough love, give him like he's actually the kind of perfect manager for Grealish. In an era of all these modern progressive managers, Moyes is still a throwback, and he's managed to land a Maverick. So it feels like if it's not going to work with Moyes, I don't know who it will work with. Do you know what I mean?
No, but Basuma's had now 3 managers. He's had Conte.
Oh yeah, Basuma's
who's a winner no matter what.
Basuma was never that good. Like if you look at what Grealish was when he was leaving for 100 million,
but he's not conducted himself during that time either in the right way.
But that comes down to, and Savio can back this up, and I'm sure he'll love this point, is that too many players, when the 7 out of 10 players get to Tottenham, they feel like they've made it. Yeah. It's really hard to put them leaving because they know they ain't going to another club of our stature, of our level.
The only way he's down.
Exactly. So why would you leave? And the thing is that
I do think as well, and listen, I get it. Football fans, we are genuinely biased, right? We are. Like, we sign a player and we elevate them. So, for example, there are players that if we were in for a player and so were West Ham, if they go to West Ham, we go, they're shit, they're rubbish. If they sign for Spurs, we go, God, what a player this is. And the problem is we put, I said this on the group earlier, I think we do this with all the young players, anyone that's not, we put them on this pedestal too soon. So, for example, we don't want to wait for people to be great over a period of time. We want to see a snapshot in a game and make them amazing. So let's use the recent friendlies as an example of this. Papa Sarr is a player that for 3 or 4 years, he's been a Spurs player for 4 years. Granted, the first year was out on loan. He's been a player for 3 or 4 years where you would turn around really and go, he's been okay. He's not really done a lot. I don't think he's progressed to a level where we go, God, look what's changed in 4 years. He has a couple of quality games in pre-season and fans start doing what they normally do. We start going, this year, this guy's amazing. Give this guy another contract. This guy's going to, and I always say the same thing. Let's wait until we see it consistently over a season or two, right? We've done it with Bergvall. Bergvall comes into a dysfunctional team last year in a midfield that had no real direction, and he was allowed to run around. He's done some nice things, and people went, oh my God, bang. He has to start. He's amazing. He could play for Real Madrid, blah, blah, blah. I think we do this with signings like Basuma as well, and I've been guilty of it. I think we do this with Bentancurs, Basumas. I think sometimes we've got to realise, like Jay said, this is the level that they're going to get to. And some people are stepping stones. Modric, we're a stepping stone. Carrick, stepping stone. Bale, stepping stone. Some of these players, once they leave Tottenham, they're going to Wolves. Sorry, I don't mean to be rude to any club, but they're going that way, right?
But they all seem to win trophies though, as soon as they leave. Has anyone else noticed that?
Yeah, but Benji, it's okay if you're saying they're all winning trophies and then you're looking at, right, well, where did Nkudu win a trophy? Do you know what I mean?
No, obviously not all of them, but there's a lot of them.
My point is, right? My point is there's a lot of players that are, I think they're too overhyped. And this is why I think right now we're all so happy because Savio and EZE aren't that. Savio and EZE, we look at and go, that's quality. That's immediate quality coming in. The rest of it, for me, sorry to have gone on a bit, I think is a lot of copium. I think a lot of copium for players that we're trying to make them better than they are.
Yeah, but Sav, ask yourself why. Why? Why is that the case?
I mean, it's a
Because we're
mix.
desperate for
Because we
anything.
don't bring in the quality. So we are.
Yeah,
I mean,
but-
number one, leave
Yeah.
Sayar Toure out of this. Okay,
Yeah.
Sayar Toure. Listen, I love
Yeah,
that
but we
boy.
give names like that, don't we?
Look, I'm jesting a little bit. But let's
I
not
know
forget
you
for a
are,
minute
but-
here. He's been under a manager who's not coached him for 2 years. So if let's okay, where do you think
Sure,
Saul would
but
be?
What about the 2 years before that? I didn't really see anything of him.
He was
that
like
made me
19,
go,
18
"You're a
years of
good
age.
player."
But he was 19, 18.
Right, Benji.
He's a young
listen,
lad.
As somebody who's listen again, I've worked for 2 Premier League football clubs, right, and been in and around coaching setups and that. Just because you are 18, 17, 16 does not mean you can't pass a ball and have crap technique, right? This whole notion that because somebody's 18, 19, bearing in mind they've probably played football since the age of 2, right? That, oh, they're only 18. So what? So they can't pass a football. If you're a pro footballer, you're a pro footballer. And
But not everyone
unfortunately-
develops, at that rate.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the basics. Like, let's be honest. Have any of you, let's have the conversation. Have any of you watched Sarr in the last 3-4 years and gone, that guy should be a starting central midfielder for Tottenham? And that you can tell me what he is?
So the only thing I'm going to say, yeah. Okay, so the simple answer would be no. However, we have minutes to fill on this on this show. So the more thorough answer is, the thing with Sarr is there's a player in there, and even already now, like I get what you're saying, as in his role in the squad is probably overstated for what it should be. Like, he shouldn't be a guaranteed starter. He should be a squad player. His form last season was very patchy, and that's being quite generous. But he's capable. Every time he has a good game, the fan base will be like, "Oh, he's such a good player." And I think that the main issue I've got with Sarr is like very small competency stuff where I'll be watching him and I'll be like, "Are you stupid?" Like I watch, like, honestly, like last season, so many times I'm like, "What the hell are you doing, Sarr?" Yeah, and that to me comes from like just not dopiness, but youthful, not understanding the game, pace of the game. And so everything you're saying, Sav, is more about his role in the squad shouldn't be as high as it is. And the level of development he should be going through, should it be here? Should it be somewhere else? If he needs to develop to the point where I'm not seeing him, he's not ready to play for our team, blah, blah, blah. So all of that is pretty fair in debate. I'm not going to, if somebody said to me, Sasha,
but you see what I mean? But Jay, you see what I mean? What we're doing is fans like this take one game, and one game, by the way, which was 4 years ago, right? Yeah. We played AC Milan 4 years ago, and we're going, the talent is real. Sure. Right? But in 4 years, right, naturally, even without a coach, he should have developed better than he has. Still, for me, I watch him and I think, does he get into Chelsea's squad? Does he get into City's, Liverpool's, Arsenal's? Does he get into Aston Villa's squad? Does he get into Newcastle's squad? For me, I'm just looking and going, when he has a good game, he's good. He's dogged. He's a good athlete. He gets the tackles in. But as a midfielder, what are you having him in as your team? If you've got a number 6 and a number 8, he's not either. Like, what does he? I'm not knocking him.
Box to box.
You're asking relevant questions as to, like, to me, when I saw him against Arsenal in the 8, I was like, yes. Yeah. Like, so I was like, yes, this. Yeah. In a pivot, playing, two, like, it's always like you're playing on the left-hand side, but playing as a pivot where he gets to do, I like that, but he's not. We've had quite a dysfunctional setup, Soul 6, 2 8s, 4-2-3-1, 3-4-3. I think the thing is when you buy high ceiling young players, that's what they're selling. That's what they're selling to us at the beginning. Could be magic beans. I remember Dos Santos. You know what I mean? So it'll be like that sometimes, but you've got to understand that that's how our best era, bar Ange, of the Ericssons and the Sonnys and Kane, and even Winks and like all those players. It came from gambling on high ceiling younger players and then trusting the coach getting us there. That's how we've done it. And I think in modern society now, we want to win because we feel like we've done it. But every time we've tried to cut the process or cut the line, it's just set us back longer. You can't game the system anymore. We got to do the work. Do you know what I mean?
No,
before I go, can I just say something quickly before I go?
For it, mate.
Yeah, I think a lot of what Jay says, right. I think with Sarr, do I think he's top quality? No. Does he start for us? No. But what I do think needs to happen is now's the time where Frank and his team get older and going, right, this is what you're going to be. These are the attributes you've got. That suits this role, whether it be an 8 or a 6 or whatever, and then stick to it and stop trying to be. So, do you know what I mean? Because we quite often create players that are jack of all trades but master of none. Yeah.
Oh.
Look because at some point these players develop outstanding attributes. I remember when Dembele came first to us, he was on the right side of the free, wasn't he? And then Potts realised his ball carrying ability and his weight, his strength, and everywhere they can't get the ball off him. I'm going to put him in midfield because that's where I see them attributes being best suited. And then the rest is history. But I think for Sarr, I think his standout attribute is probably his energy and amount of ground he can cover. So okay, take that and then mould that to something. Now I do think he's been. Yeah, I get what you're saying. He should personally develop a bit better in terms of his passing. I mean, the goal he scored against Arsenal
after this year, after this season,
was very good. And you think, where's that been?
After this season, and I know you've got to go, but after this season, it will be 5 years. So for me, this is a really big season for him to, if in 5 years since joining, you have not established yourself as the number one midfielder, we're doing that thing again where we're going to go, we'll give him another year because next year he'll be 23. Give him another year. Before you know it, we're at Lamella territory, Dyer territory.
I know what you mean. Yeah, there's got to be a point where we cut off and go, right, enough's enough. We don't think, and then we go, right, let's get whatever we can get for you because whatever you may have more potential, but it's not going to be realised here. And sometimes that happens, and then they go somewhere. Chelsea had a thing about Salah and De Bruyne. It weren't happening at the time. Off they went, and then off they went. Yeah, literally, like then they go to another stratosphere. So it can happen. But at the moment, I think he's playing different roles all the time because of the way the instability of the team and the squad and the way the club has been. Like a basket case the last few years. 1 minute he's in the 10, then he's an 8, then he's a 6. That's not probably helped him develop in any way, shape, or form because he don't know where he's coming or going. He's basic things he's got to improve on, but you think should he need to improve, as you say, pass the ball 5 yards at this time? I think a lot of that is decision making as well. But all we can hope for is that look, if Frank's team can't get hold of him and do anything with him and see any green shoots of what they've done, because he ain't going nowhere, then make a decision. But I think it's like a sculpture that's not really. You're not quite sure what it is yet, but I've still got a bit to shave off to sort of get to the sort of what it's going to look like. And I think that's where he is. He's got to nail down a particular role in the team for what he does, whether that's coming on and closing off games and whether he'll be happy that's down to him. You know what I mean?
So you think it's now or never, basically, for him?
Yeah. I think with him and us, what we do with him, instead of waiting for him to turn up and go, do you know what? I'm a 6 today. I've decided I woke up now and I'm going to be a number 6. But actually, I've got no attributes to be a number 6 or a number 10, definitely not number 10. But at some point, I think now it's got to be right. This is what you're good at. This is what you're not good at. So we think, as a coaching team, you're going to be this role. So either we're going to help you get there, or if you don't like it, fuck off. Yeah, because that's what we think you're going to be, and that's it. End of.
Yeah,
and then go with it.
Guys, I am. I know Pete needs to go. I'm gonna
go. Somebody's got to get up for work in the morning.
Yeah. Pete, I'll see you later, mate. I am gonna.
Later, boys. Have a good one.
You, mate.
Take care.
Jay,
nice to meet you.
And you, boys. See you later.
Boys, absolute pleasure.
Take care, Pete. Guys, look, I am gonna. We're going to have a couple of hours now. I will end the show there. I need to do a couple of super chats. Listen, by the way, let me just say what I'm saying, people. I'm not completely against Sarr. Please don't think that. I'm just saying that you have to get to a point where it can't be Frank's got to develop Gray in centre mid and Sarr in centre mid and Bergvall in centre mid. You know what I mean? It's like it's a lot to do. At some point, you've got to have quality in there. But listen, let me do some super chats and then we'll round out. So big up to Cat Funt, who's a big up, lads. Love your show, Sav. Doing a good job. Thank you very much, Cat Funt. Always have to say that very pronounced completely right. Big up to you, my man. Thank you very much. Spurs Airs. Big up to you. I said, come on, you Spurs. Sava legend. Sean always speaks sense. Listen, it's people who speak sense. It's only if you agree with them, right? Some people hate me, some people love me, and it's just. It is what it is. But big up to you, Spurs Airs. Really appreciate that. Big up to JSY. He's been a member for 3 months. Big up, Jess. If you haven't got over to Jess, please get over to the channel. JSY Talks Football. Thank you very much for your continued membership. And last but not least, Big Country Chris 4444 has said, have we got Eze yet? Or are we settling for Danny Drinkwater? I'm not sure we're going for Danny Drinkwater, but listen, a couple of big days ahead. We've got the Super Cup tomorrow, and then we've got the Premier League starting in 3 or 4 days. So a couple of big days for Spurs, and it's over to the owners. Let's see what they're made of. If they get these 2 players in, can't complain. If they don't, I think there's going to be a lot of complaints, not just from me.
If let's say we can't get Savio over the line, but we get, say, Eze and like Buonanotte or something like that, what would your perception be then? Because it's like okay, you kind of but it's like Buonanotte is not bad, but it's another one of these fucking talented young wingers.
For me, I'll be honest. Listen, I think then you've got to. I know this sounds really as a scapegoat, but right now the Savio Eze package is
the combo. Yeah, it's the combo. If
you got Eze and Buonanotte, I'm separating that too.
Yeah.
This is brilliant. But Jay, you know what will happen if we sign Buonanotte? It's not that he's a bad footballer, but what we would do is we'd start making all these videos as to how he fills the gap and fixes Spurs.
How he's gonna go off in 2027.
Yeah. So, but it is what it is. Listen, big up to Destiny as well. He's been a member for 7 months and said Stanley in. Yeah, Stanley is in bed asleep right now. I can assure you of that. So thank you very much, Destiny. Really appreciate that. Guys, girls, thank you very much. Benji, thank you. Jay, thanks for coming on. Good to stream.
It's good. It's very good. Thank you for having me. It's very. I think we solved a lot of crises. I hope Lang was watching, and if he wasn't, I hope he catches the replay.
I'll send it to him.
Nice.
Guys, thank you very much. Much love to all. Grab some sleep. What I'm going to do, I'm going to send you over to the boys over at Spurs Kings. There's 922 of you. Wouldn't it be fantastic if you all went over there, liked their show, said Sava Raid, and subscribed? Show some love to all the Spurs content creators. Yeah, everyone's got a different angle, but we're all out there doing our own thing. So please get over there, say Sava Raid, and please subscribe to them. Big up as well, Christiana coming in with a 97th minute winner for the super sticker. Thank you very much. Said great show. Big up to you. Thank you very much. And listen, I'll see you all in the morning at 10:30 for the morning show, unless there's some news when I wake up, and I'll go a bit earlier. Take care, everyone. Much love. And as always, come on, you Spurs.